Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about that next assignment coming up. While I'm pulling up the information, and my mouse is stopped again. There we go. Let me hear your impressions about what you read and about what you think you have to do. Yeah, playing catch up after the holidays, and if you're around children, you're probably going to catch something. Every time my son goes to visit his in-laws, they have grandchildren, and he's always struck down with something afterwards. So let me see here. Get over here. I can't. I'm a little bit surprised because I don't normally schedule these sessions on Fridays, but we'll get caught up here. We're coming up with Unit 5, and it's better if I just look at the syllabus. So how was everybody's Christmas and New Year? We just to help me get acclimated here. Yes, very busy. I was in St. Louis for most of it. I literally just got back late last night, so I've been playing catch up all day. And once again, I'm still playing catch up. So thank you all for being patient. What help me understand what unit this next assignment is in, and it'll help me get there quicker. Who's got the unit number? Is it Unit 5? Because I think that's about where we are. Unit 3. Okay. I'm getting ahead of everybody. Due on the 10th. That's right. 9th or 10th. Either way, it's fairly close. All right. Here we go. Okay. This is a Unit 3 case study. And Best Buy. All right. I just bought a camera from Best Buy. Has anybody been shopping at Best Buy lately or over the holidays? They've got a pretty cool system where they allow you to buy the product. Yeah, okay. Buy the product and then pick it up or have it sent to you. You buy it online and you can pick it up in the store. I bought a digital camera as a gift. Okay, and ready to start making crap. All right, let's see. I even have a. So Best Buy has been one of these superstores. Has been the last of the superstores to survive, and they've done a pretty good job, as you'll see in the case study. I have a presentation here that I want to share with you about case studies. Okay. Okay. Hold on. God, I can see it. And I'm going to share this with everybody, so get ready. Here it comes. Almost converted. I normally have these preloaded in here. My apologies for it taking so long. It's a fairly big file. Here we go. All right, let me know if everybody can see. Can you all see that? Okay, good. Let me get to the part here. First of all, in this case study, and as in any case study, is read it. The print here is, it looks like it's a little bit small. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. There we go. The first is just read it like you'd read a story. What you're going to end up doing is reading it a number of times. And what is the best approach is to read it as a story first, just so you understand what the thing is trying to say, the pieces, not only what the pieces in it say, the headings, but where they're located, and so forth. And then the next time, read it paying a little more attention as if you're looking for something. And what you're looking for are anything that stands out that sort of sounds like a false note in the as you're reading it through. Because in a public company, they have to list all of the warts and all, but they're very clever about the way they list things that are a challenge for the company, because they don't, nobody likes to share bad news, particularly the heads of the company. So the next thing to look for is what sort of sounds a little bit off, and that will be your opportunity to dig deeper and sort of investigate that area. A great place to find these things are in the footnotes, and usually the footnotes in the reports. So, and then read it. Then once you do that, then you have a fair understanding of what it is, and then start digging deeper into the financials and see how that works with what is being said in the narrative. And then that allows you to understand what is current, what's today. And what your challenge is not to understand just what today is, but to see the challenges and the opportunities that the company has, and they're listed in here, some not as plainly as others, and then provide a recommendation on one or two of the alternatives that you find, and then support that recommendation with additional research inside the CSU library, from the CSU library. And then when you make those statements, then you support them with that new research that you're pulling. So you start off first reading and understanding the story, looking at all the information, understanding what it is at the time the case was written, then go back and read it thoroughly again a couple more times, looking for those things where there are challenges and opportunities. And a challenge may be a good idea that they didn't implement properly or they didn't perform well. So the idea may be good, but if they changed their implementation strategy, it might be a good alternative to recommend. So that's something to consider also. So then next, once you have determined those one or two alternatives, then provide that recommendation. And the recommendation that you choose, that's where you start looking at current research to support that going forward, because that won't be in the case study. Uh, it'll be in the case study up to the point where you discover it, but to make a recommendation going forward, that's all yours, and all of your information that you use to support it will be there. So how does that sound? Am I making sense so far? Okay. And so that's how you did. Uh, I I believe somebody said, what was that? It went off the screen. I believe something about. I believe maybe this live lecture was supposed to count as the second live lectures, or the one for Unit 4, but maybe the schedules didn't align due to the holidays. Okay. I'm somewhat confused, and maybe that's why there's confusion on the dates of the units. Could be. Uh, the good news is, once we're recording this, once it's in the can, and those of you who are here, you can say that you were here, and those who are watching this by way of the recording will be able to watch the recording and also count for the live lecture attendance. So that's the good thing, Mark. But thank you for bringing that up. I am, you know, okay. So great. So we're marching forward here, and some of the things that are listed here with Best Buy is grow through acquisition. A question that you'll want to ask yourself is, Best Buy, does it have an international strategy? Are there Best Buys all over the world? If the answer is no, then the question is, should there be? Because again, as a CEO, because you're presenting this to the executive team, as a CEO, you're always asking yourself, how do we increase our market opportunity, to increase our revenue and products sold, and and so forth. And of course, one of those is a global strategy. Is Best Buy a company that can do that? And if they are, what strengths do they have that would support an international strategy? Or what do they have to create in their organization to be able to have that international strategy? And is that doable or not? And again, that's how you would use your research at CSU Library to help you explore that further and support whatever it is that you would think. If you take a company like Coca-Cola, where if 75% of their revenue is based upon the international market. So the United States only provides 25% of Coca-Cola's revenue. It truly is an international company. So their motto is refreshment at arm's length. Now that sounds pretty simple, but when you think about all of the distribution challenges that make that happen internationally, then you find that this is really quite a distribution, practically a distribution miracle. And they even have in rural areas in say India or the Amazon or Africa, they have as single people on bicycles with cases of Coke that ride into remote areas and sell those things, and that area depends on them to buy the soft drink from. So they try to reach out to everywhere in the world where there are people who seek refreshment. Then Coca-Cola said, we're just a single brand company. The question is about Best Buy. They're not a single brand company. And so what brands are the best brands for Best Buy? In Coca-Cola's situation, they redefine themselves by adding brands to their product line, and they added those brands not through ground up, but through acquisition, as has done Best Buy. Best Buy had a shock to their system during the COVID, as every retail store did, yet they survived. What had they been doing to allow them to survive COVID when no one could come into their store. And they had an expertise of online expertise and an omni-channel expertise that would allow them to reach out to customers without them having to come into the store. And then uh, a number of stores like Walmart, who did not allow people to come into the stores, created a curbside pickup for people where you never get out of your car. It protects both you and the Walmart employees, where you make your order online and then you drive up and you open the back of your car or the trunk or whatever, and the associate loads everything up according to your order. You stay in the car, then you just drive away. Well, guess what? People like that convenience, and people that's why they're sticking with that. Now, Walmart was in a it was had a real challenge because they did not have that expertise, that online expertise. So what did they do? They looked around in the marketplace and they found a company that could do the things that they felt they needed to do and could adapt well with Walmart. So they bought that company. And if you look at Best Buy, they also have growth through acquisitions as well. So as a CEO, you have to ask yourself, if we have an area where we have customers that will buy our products, but we don't have the expertise in our organization to tap into that market, to reach and service that market, what do we do? And one of the ways is to acquire those companies that can help you provide that service in a way that you're not set up for. And so that's where Best Buy had those challenges that they were facing. And as you read the case, you'll see how they adapted to that and how they felt they could resolve that. That was then. And now, have they done a good job at it? Your challenge is to say yes or no and see where the alternatives and opportunities are, and then add your 2 cents worth, because the executive team, again, is looking for your potential strategies and plan to add to the grander business and marketing plan. So do you all see how this work is very important? It's not just a standalone by itself. If you put it in the broader perspective of the company is looking for new opportunities for investment and to grow, and they're looking to you as a knowledgeable individual within their organization to provide them with a fresh look. And you're doing so by going back into reading the history of the organization and finding out their financial performance and their marketing performance and their customers, and should they be local, should they be international, and so forth, putting that all together and creating a plan where you'll pick pieces out of that and say, yes, we can improve in this area. I say pieces because I don't want you to boil the ocean on this. This is not going to be helpful for you or for the company. When your idea is to be, when you get to the point of making a recommendation, is be very specific and only have two recommendations, no more than that. If you really feel like you really must, you can have three, but really, because you want to be thorough and you want to demonstrate that you have done your research, your homework, and that you can really provide the best response, the best avenue for the company to consider. And then the company then can take that recommendation, that strategy, and they can plug it into their current marketing and business strategies and work it around to see how it can fit with the global strategy for the organization at large. And that's how these strategies, get into place. They just aren't all dreamed up at once. They do look for folks like you who are lower than the executive team, are in more managerial and functional areas that know their business, and they want to know how what you think, and if there are opportunities within what you see that they can put into the grander strategic plan for the company. So you're playing a valid role, and these case studies are valid because even in your own companies, you're going to find even as you go through the strategic planning process. If you have this kind of mindset, you'll find that that process is going to be a much more meaningful for you and for your department that you return to after that exercise is over as you implement the strategic plan once it's put in place over the next fiscal year. So all of this is connected, and working a business case study is a way of helping you sort of see that connectedness. Now, are there any comments or feedback on what I just mentioned? Is it an aha moment, or like, yeah, we already know that, Dr. Crispin?
No, Dr. Crispin, I think it's kind of refreshing in a sense just to take a step back. And I feel like sometimes, in the business aspect, you get kind of tunnel vision. So being able to take a step back and have more of an objective opinion as an outsider, provide a new perspective on existing business model or opportunity for growth or scaling. I think that's pretty important to future success.
Well, very good. Well, thank you. Thank you for that input. The way companies that encourage that kind of refreshment of thinking are company and do it consistently. Those are the companies that consistently are going to be more profitable and more successful than those that don't. And this also makes the strategic planning process more vital and robust for a company. And that and again, I said this, I think, in the first collaboration session. Why don't if all of these good things happen from strategic planning, why don't companies do it more often, or why don't companies do it better? And the simple reason is it's very difficult. It's hard. It takes discipline. It takes discipline at all the different levels, and that discipline has to be unified to have the planning process to work. And if it's because there are so many variables out there that can happen, that people can say, well, what's the use of planning? Everything's a crapshoot anyway, and we can't control everything and so forth. But the answer is yes, you can. The things that you can control prepares the company for that control, even if that thing did not happen as predicted. Perhaps something else happened that was not sought or seen. That means that because you were prepared for this other thing that didn't happen, in part you were still prepared. You were in the prepared footing for the organization. If you were an army, you were still in a warlike footing and prepared to fight, even if the enemy came at you from a different direction. You were still prepared to fight, as opposed to laying about and saying, well, this is not going to happen, and if it does, we'll deal with it when it does, but in the meantime, we can't predict the future. Well, if you believe that, you're like one of the three little pigs who built their house of straw. So that's why just the act of preparation, the act of planning, really helps an organization be better, demonstrating that to all the functional areas of the organization that this planning is consistent with their daily operational fulfillment of that plan. That's the gold standard. Companies like Google and Apple and Microsoft, they do that very well across all of their company. And look what they have. They have trillion-dollar companies with worldwide presence. And they work very hard at that. It doesn't come magically. It comes deliberately. And it takes good, strong leadership to make that happen. And that's why you have an exposure through this course of 6320 is so important, to have that awareness, because if it doesn't make you a better CEO, if you don't become a CEO, it will certainly make you a better manager or a better senior executive level manager and contributor to the company's success. Okay, well, that's pretty much it. I've tried to prepare all of you for the right mindset here. Do you have any other questions before we ring off? We've talked about the reasons why this is important. We've talked about the process on how to go through and break down a case study to make it chunkable. And again, I recommend you working in chunks. Read it first, then read it again, then start looking for things that don't quite just don't quite sound right, just don't quite look right. Dig into that a little more. You'll see that you'll see things happening there that you can really investigate. And once you understand what is, by understanding the case study, that is the jump off point to take those false notes or those things that didn't quite work right and see, is it A, a good strategy that was implemented poorly, or B, is it a bad strategy and it needs to have a better strategy created? And from what you've read, you've got some ideas, and then additional research will support those ideas, and you can take it forward for your recommendation. How's that?
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Okay, easy breezy, right? Okay, everybody. Well, thank you. Thank you for sticking with us tonight, and good luck on your case study. I'm looking forward to seeing all of them. This is a fun case, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So, good night, everybody, and remember, I'll see you in class.